Tools webpage, and it's also been chatted to you through the welcome message. We do understand that not everyone can make it to our live session, so we do record all of our webinars. You'll be able to find the recording of today's session later today on the webpage or in the Coalition's Learning Connection, along with our other archived webinars. So here's how you navigate to that public webpage. On the website's homepage, simply hover your mouse over the Coalitions tab and select either Coalition's Learning Connection, which is the second option in the drop-down menu, or the Power Tools webpage, which is the fourth option from the bottom. So for today's session, all participants are in listen-only mode, but because this session is intended to be interactive, we'll be pausing periodically throughout the webinar to answer your questions. So we encourage you to type in your questions all throughout today's session. And here's how you do that. On your GoToWebinar panel, it should be located at the right of your screen. If you don't see it, it might be minimized, so just click on that orange tab to pop it back out. If you scroll down below the audio section, you'll see a tab for questions. And when you click on that, it should open up a box where you'll be able to type in your questions. If you have any webinar-related problems, please send an email to coalitions@usbreastfeeding.org, and one of our staff will assist you. And that brings me to today's topic, coalitions taking to Twitter with confidence. Social media has become vital to state and national advocacy efforts. Increasingly, elected representatives and their constituents communicate via social media. Coalitions can really enhance their effectiveness and relevance by actively participating in these conversations. Today's Power Tools webinar will be an expansion on coalitions taking Twitter by storm, which was presented by USBC in March of 2016, and will focus on increasing your familiarity with the Twitter platform and how it can be used to support your coalition's mission. We hope that you all have brought a second device, either a smartphone, tablet, or a laptop, so that you can participate in real time and more easily join the real-time conversation on Twitter at #coalitionstweet. Today, we are especially excited to have USBC's PR and Communications Coordinator, Lynette Enigbo, present to you. Lynette attended Indiana University for both her undergraduate degree and graduate degree. While as an undergraduate student, she created the Parents Resource Guide under the leadership of Dean Yvette Alex Asenso at the IU Office for Women's Affairs. She is passionate about helping women find the information and support they need to thrive, informed by her own experiences as an undergraduate mother and advocate for maternal academic retainment and positive child development. She has experience managing social media, graphic design, marketing, and advocacy. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Lynette. And Lynette, you're probably muted.
Yep, just unmuted. Thank you, Danae, for that wonderful introduction. Again, my name is Lynette Enigbo, PR and Communications Coordinator for the USBC, and today we are going to be taking a little bit of a deeper dive into Twitter. So we want to start with the basic why Twitter. Twitter is an effective tool for building, engaging, and informing your community. Twitter allows you to communicate directly with stakeholders and supporters. It's really a platform that's meant for conversations. Twitter is designed to help you directly communicate with specific people or put out information about a topic using hashtags and allow people interested in those topics to find you based on shared interest. It's also a great place to build support for your coalition's fundraiser or advocacy efforts. And increasingly, in our political climate, it is absolutely the place to go to stay up to date for news and trends around a wide variety of issues, including some of the broader policy issues your organization might be working with in terms of paid leave, but also our common thread, which would be breastfeeding. So before we dive into the new material, I want to just take us a moment to refresh some of what we've already talked about in Twitter. So if you have your second device, now is a great time to log into Twitter so you can follow along as we head out and head into Twitter. So when you log into Twitter, you're going to come to your dashboard. So this entire thing, this is your feed. Here is where, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in notifications. Just kidding. You want to go to your home page. There you go. So if you're in your home page, this is where you're going to start with Twitter. Twitter is going to give you some suggestions for people to follow, which is really helpful. If you are new to Twitter, see, he's a senator, so we should follow him. And this is your dashboard, and this contains all of the tweets from the people that you're following. So we're following here, you can see we're following 65 people. So all of their tweets are going to show up on this dashboard. When you're looking here, you might notice that you see tweets from people that you're not following. That happens when someone like Moms Rising, who we are following, as you can see here, retweet something, it shows up on our dashboard as if Moms Rising shared it. So that's the main difference between a retweet and a like, is that when you retweet something, it's going to show up on the people who follow you. It'll show up on their dashboard as if you are you're the one that tweeted it, and it actually increases your tweet count. Where liking something goes into a separate dashboard. Although sometimes Twitter doesn't show everything that you like to your audience, but it does show some of the things. So be aware of that as you're deciding if you want to like or retweet. So you can just see our dashboard moving along as people tweet. There also will occasionally be ads here. So if you look over to the side, you can see what's trending. So here are the topics that are trending, and if there's anything this is also a good place to just go and see about the current affairs and see what people are saying about each of these topics. Here just gives you a basic rundown of how many tweets we've tweeted. Again, retweets count towards tweets, how many followers we have, how many people we're following, I'm sorry, and how many followers we have. So this is just a great quick place. Here you can actually click here and tweet from here. Now, if you want to get more about what you're doing specifically, you can head to your home page. So here we can see all the tweets that USBC has tweeted or retweeted in this thread. We also get a little bit more information. So here's our bio, our location, our website. So here's a great place for people to get more information about your organization. As we saw, if we go back to the home page here, this handy tool where it allows you to look at someone's profile without actually going into their homepage. So from here, just by hovering over his name, we can see his basic information, his tweets, who's following him, and we can actually also follow him from here. So if you see the plus button, that means we're not following them. So once we click it, it has a check mark, and that's someone that we're following. And if you've ever wondered about this blue check mark, this is actually just an authentication that Twitter hands out to people who are prominent or significant. Culturally, socially, politically, they are the ones that make the call. So when you see this, you can be very sure that they are the correct account. So they are who they say they are. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna head back in to start introducing some new terms for Twitter. So today we're going to talk about GIFs, and GIF is a image format that supports both animated and static images. We'll talk more about GIFs, and the definition is a little nebulous, so we'll look at GIFs so you can understand what they are. I'm sure once you see them, you've probably seen them many times. They're very, very popular sort of emoji substitutes. There are also Twitter polls, which is the process of polling your audience directly on Twitter. This is great because people often don't like to take polls because it takes them to an entirely different site, and then they don't get the results right away. So Twitter takes away both of those issues, because you can do the poll directly in Twitter, and then it lets you see it right away. And we're also going to have a discussion about hashtags, which we talked about in our earlier webinar, but I want to dive into it a little deeper as we are talking about building engagement and confidence. Hashtags are a great way to do that. So a hashtag is any word or phrase immediately preceded by the pound sign. And it's important to remember, if you're using a phrase, that there should be no spaces in between the words. So we'll talk more about each of these topics during the course of the webinar. So we have 3 major learning objectives today. We're going to learn about tweet management, which is the collecting and organizing of tweets to increase efficiency. We're going to talk about crafting more engaging tweets using some of the additional tools that Twitter has already built in, to really make the conversation that you're having more interesting and incentivize people to join your conversation. And we're going to take a basic look at analytics. So using the data that Twitter makes available to help you increase your effectiveness and make data-driven changes to your process. So this is a pretty basic introduction to analytics, using the analytics that Twitter provides built into your homepage that you might otherwise just not notice. Okay, so please prepare to use Twitter on your second device. Don't forget to log in. And it's also important to note that if you're using a mobile device, your screen is going to look a little different from mine because I am on the desktop, but everything that I'm seeing on the desktop is somewhere on your mobile device. So with that being said, do we have any questions about anything that I've covered so far?
Yeah, we just had a quick question about the interfaces being different. Can you just maybe touch on a little bit how the interface will be different on the laptop and the phone?
Okay, so, actually the app, so if you can log into Twitter on using like Safari on your phone, but also there's the app. So I should say, if you're using the app, it's going to be different. I know that I use an iPhone, which is the most similar to how Twitter looks. The main difference is going to be that the home row. So let me go into here. So your home, moments, notifications, messages on an iPhone, it's actually going to be at the bottom of your screen, and I believe on Microsoft phones it's still on the top. So on Android, it's still on the top. This sign here, this quill and notebook is always where you're going to go to write tweets. So this bar doesn't exist on your phone. And so whenever you see this, that's when you can begin to write a tweet. And when you're looking at your desktop, it actually is going to be, let me go to the home page because I think so when you have your profile picture here and your header, this quill is actually inside of your header here. So those are going to be the main differences. And of course, your settings. I hope that I'm doing a good job of explaining where everything is, because this edit profile button exists on your phone. It's just a little bit, the entire screen is condensed. So this is about here. These things here actually go across. So really they've just reorganized everything. And your settings bar, so when you would normally go in here to edit your profile and settings, so your settings and privacy is actually going to be a gear symbol, which is a pretty common symbol used for settings. It's a little gear, and I don't see it used anywhere. on this page. So I'm having, not sure where I could show you what the gear looks like, but it is a gear symbol. So that is where you would go to look at your settings and privacy and look at your lists and your drafts and your moments. Yeah, those are the main differences.
Thanks, Lynette.
Okay, great. Hopefully that was a sufficient answer. Okay, so we're gonna start with tweet management. So I'm a really big proponent of using software to help you manage your tweets. So why use software? Software helps you create a trail so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you are trying to produce content for your Twitter account. And it also keeps you from forgetting great contact or resources. So if you just have a running list of tweets and resources, then you can, a month from now, remember what CDC posted 3 months ago. Because social media is moving so fast, I found that people spent time creating these really great resources, and then after a few weeks, you just didn't see them anymore. But we call that evergreen content, which means that it's gonna be relevant for a much longer period of time than, say, a tweet about an upcoming webinar, which once the webinar happens, that specific tweet is no longer relevant. So for USBC, I might tweet out about having a webinar, and then after the webinar, I'll send a tweet about the webinar now being available on the archive. And then that tweet about the archive is a forever tweet. So 1 month from now, that archived webinar is still there. And it's important to keep reminding people about content. Another reason I love software is that everything needs a place. There is a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of resources. Things are constantly changing, and being able to keep it in one place not only helps you keep things organized, but it helps you walk away from the craziness of social media. Because, you know, Twitter format, Facebook format is really specific. So just being able to put that information somewhere and walk away also helps you maintain your balance as you begin managing social media, which I'm a big proponent for, and is really important to help you, to help your system be sustainable. So where do you start? I've made a list of the top notebook formats, which are going to be Evernote, Simple Note, Google Keep, Microsoft OneNote, Apple Notes. Most of you are familiar with at least one of these Apple Notes, and so the Microsoft and the Apple formats come standard on any of their devices. So these are great places to start as you're researching to figure out what platform is going to work best for you. So things to consider. Does your software integrate with all the devices that you use? So if you use a PC at work and Mac at home and you have an Apple phone, can you get that software on all of your devices? That's going to be a big determinant for help you keep yourself sane. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to want to use it on all your devices, but if you need to, you can. And that's really important because you just really never know, especially with the changing political climate right now. You really want to be able to do things at ASAP if you need to. So does it allow you to insert images? And this is really important as we have campaigns that have specific memes to go with messaging. Being able to store the messaging and the image in the same place is also going to really streamline your ability to manage your social media. Does it allow you to share pages? So I've talked to a few coalitions who have more than one person running their social media. So more than one person could use the same login, but with that, you cannot tell who did what. So just knowing its share capabilities, can everybody have separate logins? Would everybody be using the same login? These are things that you want to think about ahead of time to avoid having to change the system later. Is there an app that corresponds with the software so that you can seamlessly move from your desktop to your phone? This is important because some platforms, for instance, Instagram, you really can't use on your desktop. You really do have to have a phone to use Instagram, but it's hard to use emojis on your desktops. Much easier to cut and paste something into your software on your computer, pick up your phone, insert your emojis, put your phone down, go back to your computer. I know that sounds like a lot, but it is much easier than trying to find emoji add-ons and do all you would need to do to make your computer emoji ready. And does it contain a search function? So as you are building a database of tweets and Facebook posts and Instagram posts, can you quickly search CDC and pull up all of the posts about the CDC if need be? This is important because, again, part of the reason that we do this is to keep great resources from falling by the wayside. So being able to quickly find those tweets, tweak them, and tweet them again really will help you sort of master your use of social media. So I want to go into, we're going to talk about how we do this, and then we're going to head out and actually do it. So I'm a big proponent of cut, paste, and organize. Here is an article that I really like called 11 Ways Marketers Can Use Twitter Polls. So what I do is I would go into an article like this, and for most articles, you have this ability to share. So it'll tell you you can share on Twitter, Facebook, or usually Pinterest is what's next. And I hit the Twitter icon, and then I cut and paste this box because it allows me to cut and paste in fewer steps. So rather than cutting and pasting the link and cutting and pasting the name of the article, I can cut and paste once, and it has both of those things. And sometimes it'll also have the name of the newspaper or the person that wrote it, which can also be really helpful for attributions. So I cut the text that's in the pop-up box, and then I paste it into my organizer. So here's a screenshot of my organizer. I use Simple Note. So this is a screenshot of Simple Note. And then I would just paste the text in, actually into master list of tweets. I decided to take a screenshot of this page because I use this for my Instagram. And with Instagram, you want to use a ton of hashtags. So I just have it all set up for me. These are the most popular hashtags for our field. So I just pop that in and I'm ready to go. So an additional way to help you manage your use of social media. And another thing that's really helpful is as you are scrolling through Instagram, or no, I'm sorry, not Instagram, Twitter or anything else, you can cut and paste. Found this great example of someone that cut and paste a tweet from the CDC and use this AMT Indicator. So this is a great alternative to retweeting because a retweet is instant, it's immediate, and it's done. And sometimes, you might spend 15 minutes on Twitter and you don't want to retweet every single time for those 15 minutes because it's going to be a bombardment, and you want to space out your use of retweets, except if you're, in a Twitter chat. So what you can do is you can actually cut and paste a tweet from Twitter, and then you can put this MT in front of it and paste it in later. And it just lets everyone know it's like a manual retweet. So it's another great option to help you build your store of tweets. So we're going to take a look at my software and how I use it. So here's Twitter, and here is my master list of tweets, potential Twitter articles. So what I would do so I'm going to show using the main tweet. Here's a great article. So I can come in here and I use the Command C to copy, and then I can actually paste this entire tweet in here. And then I can use the main tweet attribution so I can go through, and doing this allows me to grab information from a lot of different places. So I'll show you the example of grabbing it. So if I'm at this article and I like it, I can find the Twitter icon, click on that, and it'll create a pop-up box where I can cut and paste. Oh, I'm not sure why it's not. Maybe it's just taking a second to load, but it would do a pop-up and I could cut and paste that entire thing. So as you can see, I use this pretty extensively and I have a lot of posts. And I realized I really needed evergreen, a separate document for evergreen content, and then my Instagram and Facebook posts because I needed to add emojis. So this is just a great way to keep track of what's happening, but also sometimes I like to just get in here and scroll to a certain point and then stop and then see, okay, is there something that I'm missing? If I just want to make sure that I am covering things, or if there's you have Throwback Thursday, Flashback Friday, and I want to make sure that I am doing a good mix of posts, both old and new. And one thing that I learned from doing this is at one point I tried to segment and say, okay, these are news articles, these are partner resources, all in one document. And I found that it became problematic because I couldn't tell just from the order how old something was. So I like to use it sort of like the sedimentary rock model where like the oldest things are at the bottom and I don't disrupt the order of the layering. And I found that to be really, really helpful because you can't always tell from the link when the article. So here, you can't tell at all when the article was released. Sometimes they will embed it in the link, as you can see here. So this is the date, 2007, 5/12. Yep, so there you go. There is a look at my process. So you might be asking, why? Why do all of this gathering and organizing of tweets and other social media posts in a separate software? And that's part of the answer to how many tweets. So the easy answer based on the analytics from USBC is at least 400 tweets a month, which is about 10 to 15 tweets a day. That is a lot of tweets and it's a lot of information. So that's the biggest reason why you want to use this system. So in terms of your organization, the real answer, not based on your data, your data is going to give you the real answer. So your analytics are going to provide you with the best answer. But the two things to note are tweets last 20 minutes and every retweet extends that 20 minutes. So anytime someone retweets, it's 20 more minutes for their audience. And the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So the more tweets, the better. Because of the way when we looked at the Twitter homepage, tweets come in really fast. The more people you're following, the more tweets are going to come up because every time someone posts, it just dumps it into the database and it's easy to just scroll past someone's tweet. So volume actually helps you get noticed. Yeah. Oh, it's also important to note that your data, it takes a while for your data to come in, really 6 months to really, really, really be able to trust your data and have a good mix of different, like, how do holidays affect your audience? How do political events affect your audience? You kind of need time to figure those out. So 6 months, a year, but you start getting data right away. But your behavior affects your data. So we'll talk about that when we talk about analytics. How can you have behavior that'll help you make sure that you can actually trust the analytics that you get? So we want to talk about HootSuite because as we are talking about that, just the volume of tweets that you need, it's difficult to manage that. I mean, if you're sitting at your desk, even if you're cutting and pasting information, that is a lot of time and a lot of just a lot of difficulty for your memory. Just having this in the back of your mind. Okay, I need to get on Twitter every hour to post. I think that's too much. And pretty early on, people created these sort of tweet while you sleep platforms. One of them is HootSuite. So here is HootSuite allows you to schedule posts so that once you have curated and created your database, then you use that cut and paste to go into HootSuite and schedule posts. So here's an example of the week view of posts that we had scheduled for USBC that I used in the first webinar. And this really just helps you keep your sanity and also keep you consistent and frequent as an organization tweeting out information so that people can view you as reliable and informed without the person actually doing the managing, consuming so much of their time that they can't be productive in other areas, or they just, you know, it's just too overwhelming and it's really not feasible. Oh, so before we do that, I want to go into HootSuite because I want to show you how this is done. So I'm logged into HootSuite and I'm going to go to my arrow, which is going to be my publisher. And I want to be able to see the things that I have scheduled. So I've done this twice, practiced this twice. So I have 2 posts. I'm going to go ahead and use this post that we just did. We just cut and paste. I'm going to copy and paste that. And I'm going to go make sure that I have Twitter selected. And I'm going to paste this message in. And I'm going to just turn this word into a hashtag. That might be helpful. And so some important things to see. Oh, we have, it is too long. So I'm going to take this word out. So yep, so always editing rather than typing completely. So now we are good on space, and we can see that here you can auto schedule. So I have auto schedule turned off, but auto schedule uses the analytics to decide the best time. So this is a great place to start. If you are ever not sure, go ahead and just use the auto schedule. So I have it, you know, you can see here that I can actually schedule all the way out till December 2017, which I'm not going to do here, but I could. I might just use, so today was May 17th. I'll go ahead and do that. And actually, let's do May 18th at 8:30 a.m. and I can schedule that post. And so today we're going to have a post at 8:30. Tomorrow we're going to have a post at 9:30 a.m. And I can come in here and I can view the schedule or edit. And it just allows me, so I could spend, you know, 30 minutes using my list of tweets and resources and news articles, and I can populate my dashboard. So pretty exciting tool for coalitions and those who are managing the social media platforms to really help you stay on top of it and, you know, sort of just schedule it and then take a deep breath and walk away and do the things that you need to do. So I like to think about it like, you know, it's like a garden, and every morning I'm not walking into an empty garden. It's more that I've planted things and I'm checking to make sure everything is healthy, everything's in the right place. I can uproot things and plant new things, but I'm not starting from scratch every morning. And that is really, really helpful. So questions?
Yeah, we do have a few questions. The first question is, these software tools, are they free or at low cost? The HootSuite and Evernote and the other ones that you mentioned?
Yes. So notes come standard on Apple devices. I use Simple Note. I didn't pay for Simple Note. Evernote you can get it free. There are paid upgrades in Evernote. Evernote allows images, Simple Note does not. HootSuite is free for one device. So this is actually what this is a free version of HootSuite. We're actually not paying for HootSuite right now, which is why it says upgrade my plan. You can't see any other view but the list view. But that's fine. I use the list view a lot because it helps me say at the beginning of each day, I can actually read through what are my tweets for the day and move things that I need to move, space things out. You know, sometimes as you might find that you've scheduled the same, or you might find that you've scheduled 2 tweets for 11:30 a.m. because, you know, you're just scheduling every day. And so I can move a tweet on the day of. So I actually really like list view and think, you know, the free version of HootSuite is totally sufficient. I think the next layer, the next highest, the next paid model is $5.99 or less. It was $2.99 at one point. I think it might be $5.99 now. But that comes with the ability to use, you know, your day view or your week view, your month view, and some analytics. Yeah, so things are very cost effective, low cost, but there are ways to not pay. So there is a option to not pay for any of these things, and that's what I recommend using.
Great, thanks so much. And what was the name of the tweet scheduling program again?
HootSuite. HootSuite.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually here, right here, HootSuite.
Awesome. And last question is, can you explain the main tweet, the MT that you covered when you were tweeting?
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of, I want to show the example that it's a way to give attribution to the person that posted it first. So you don't have to do it. You can read the message, read the tweet itself, and you can tell whether or not it needs an attribution. So here, the point of adding it is this. So when they added this, they're also letting CDC know, because this is going to show up in CDC's notification. So anytime someone tags your name, so if you tag CDC or you tag USBC, when we go to our notifications, we get all our notifications here, but there's a separate tab called mentions that lets us know whenever someone has our name specifically. So it means that they're talking to us. And oh yay, that's great. So they're talking to us, and we want to engage them in conversation. And since Twitter is built for conversation, they want to make sure you know when someone's talking to you so that you can speak back and acknowledge them. So when you say, okay, well, I'm gonna take someone's tweet, if it's not clear who tweeted it, it's nice to say, okay, I got this tweet from A1. So A1 knows, hey, they're paying attention, they're sharing the information that we're sharing, but they're also shouting us out, right? So they're also letting everybody know that they got the tweet from us, even though they didn't retweet it right away. It sort of does, because when you retweet, it shows up as, it's like, it gives that person a huge shout out. See, when Moms Rising retweeted them, it showed me their entire page and gave me the chance to scroll over and follow, right? So it's a courtesy. It's almost like an introduction, a way of introducing and letting people know that you are attributing them. I mean, yeah. So it's just a great thing to do. If you don't have the characters, like we saw that when I did it, it took up too many characters and I ended up having to delete this. So if you don't have the characters, then, you know, you can't do it. But if you do, it's a nice thing to do. Or if you can find characters somewhere, it's also a nice thing to do. So does that answer the question, or?
Yep, thanks so much.
Great. Okay. So crafting engaging tweets. So using the tools within Twitter to engage your audience. One of the things that you can do is polls. Polls are a really great way to engage your audience, to gather information, and it's an innovative information sharing as well. I mean, you are able to, the CDC had a really great example where they were sharing Zika information versus via poll. So they let people know, you know, test your Zika knowledge. So it was a great way to engage the audience, to gather information about what people knew about Zika, and share with people information after they realize that, maybe they don't know as much about Zika as they thought they did. So here's a great example from APHA where they polled their audience to see what's important to you guys during this presidential debate. And you can see the results, you can see how many people voted, and it's just a really great opportunity to build engagement and build some excitement and be innovative. I encourage you to use it. So some tips, I got these tips from, this is the same place that I pulled that other screenshot from, the 11 ways marketers use Twitter polls. I really encourage you to read it. There are additionally great tips, but the two that I pulled out are, use Twitter polls consistently. So it creates the expectation and gives your followers reasons to come back to your page. An example of a brand that does this really, really well is our Airbnb. They use polls constantly, and they have an incredibly popular page because of it. I will be honest and say I take a lot of Airbnb quizzes. I took once a day, and I really enjoy them. It's really fun to see how do you stack up to everybody else. And everyone loves polls and quizzes. So definitely, and being consistent, again, builds that expectation and builds a culture around your page. And don't forget hashtags. So custom hashtags or generic hashtags can also be a really helpful way to build your brand and help your audience find your poll. So I have two examples here. I have a pretty specific hashtag, which would be USBC weekly poll, which is kind of long. I ended up shortening it to USBC poll because, again, character limits in Twitter is a very real thing that must be grappled with. And there's also what I would call a medium sort of customized poll, which is a breastfeeding poll, which, it doesn't say USBC, it's not quite as specific, but at least it has a topic rather than just putting hashtag poll, which, anyone could use. So we'll talk more about hashtags and polls, and we'll see how they're used and see how we can sort of play around with it and get used to it. So we're going to do a step-by-step of how to create a Twitter poll, which I'm very excited for. I actually have the text of my Twitter poll already written here, so we can just cut and paste our way. So there are two, you can create a poll the same way that you create a regular tweet. You can start here, or you can click this, so the top of your home page has it, the what's happening. And also in the corner, your quill and notepad button both have the same things. And at the bottom, you see add poll, and you can just click there. And I can say, have you ever used a Twitter poll? So hopefully you guys have out your devices as I'm cutting and pasting. If you don't already have your device out, get it out so you can take this poll, because we're gonna have it go live right now. And you can see the hashtags I've used are USBC poll and coalitions tweet. So if you're tweeting about how much you're loving this webinar, you can go ahead and use the hashtag coalitions tweet. So I'm gonna do the options. You can add more than 2 options. There's the add choice here. And then you can choose the poll length. So I'm not gonna have it go for an entire day, and I'm not gonna have it go for hours. I'm gonna do 5, I'll give you 7 minutes. 7 minutes, and I can tweet out this poll. Great, so we have 6 minutes left. As you can see, no one has taken the poll yet, so we're gonna wait for those to come in. Hopefully someone comes and takes the poll. And you might be thinking, as I have things scheduled right now, and so we can just see people have posted. So if someone comes to their homepage and they're just scrolling, there could be lots and lots of things before they even see our poll. So how can we keep our poll from getting lost? One of the things that we can do is head to the USBC homepage. We can click our name and head to our homepage. And we can take this poll and we can actually pin it to the top. So pin to your profile page, and I can pin. And that is going to, it says here, okay, my tweet has been pinned. I have to refresh. So I can press view now and it'll refresh. And now it's pinned to the top. So no matter how many tweets I have scheduled during the course of this 6 minutes, this tweet will stay at the top. And it also helps with how it's viewed by, it also signals to Twitter that, hey, this tweet's really important, and helps me keep it on other people's dashboard. So if we head back to our homepage, we can see a lot of tweets have happened, and we would have to go down and search for our, yes, so it's basically disappeared. So here we are, and great, so we have 6 votes. And you know what, and another great thing about tweets is I can actually reply to my own tweets with another poll. So I can make a quiz, and this is how the CDC did it, and I loved it. So I'm gonna ask another question. Will you use one in the future? And then I put learn more about polls in the USBC. This is not the correct link for this, but I'm gonna put this here anyway because I want to direct traffic to the USBC page. So polls are also a really great way to redirect to your page. So if you're having an event and you say, okay, how many people are vegan in the crowd or vegetarian, you can ask that and link to your Facebook event that you're having, and let people know so that you can gather information and turn people's attention to where you want it to go. So I'm going to give you 2, neither of these are actual options, or no, they're not, I mean, they're the same option. So 2 different ways, because hopefully that's what it's gonna be, because polls are really exciting, and I hope as a field we begin to use them more. And I will do 5 minutes for this one, and I can just reply. And when I refresh, I can see now that they're chained, right? So, and we saw this someone else did this before, where we could see that replying to your own tweet is a great way to get past the character limit on Twitter, and also a really great way to keep saying things connected. So if you're trying to have the same conversation, rather than having your tweets get separated by all of these other things that have been tweeted since our original question, you know, if you think about, I mean, our original question was here. So all our tweet would be separated by that many tweets. It allows you to keep it together, which is great. So I highly recommend replying to your tweets just whenever you need to. And also, you know, you can create a quiz for your audience, which is also a great use. And I'm gonna do one more reply to myself, because we talked about GIFs when we talked about definitions, and GIFs are another really great way to make your posts pop. So I'm going to insert, how do you feel about polls? And this is going to be a GIF challenge. Now, if you do not feel comfortable with GIFs after this, you can still reply with words or an image, which is always great. Because as you see here, images take up space, right? And so they help your tweet get noticed. GIFs are even better because they move. So you can type in a feeling or a person. So I'm going to type in happy, and I gotta love Bart from The Simpsons. So I'm gonna use this, make sure I add the U, and I can actually reply. And now everyone can also reply, okay, how do GIFs make you feel? And then, or how do polls make you feel? And you can reply with a GIF. And these are just great ways. Challenges in general are really great ways to engage your audience. It helps people just have a little more fun and express their feelings, express things that they like. So hopefully we'll get some responses. And so you would just come and you would reply here, and you could reply with words or a GIF of your own. You could actually even reply with a poll. And I would appreciate any of those responses. But so polls and GIFs, great ways to grab some attention and have some fun on Twitter. Engage, help people want to engage in your conversation and make social media really feel social. Okay, so we are going to, all right, talk about hashtags. Specific hashtags like USBC weekly poll, they're great for data collection because if I use this specific hashtag, all the tweets that come up in the search are going to be my tweets, right? So I can grab the data really easily if I'm trying to make a storify. It's much easier if my tweet's really specific. So this is great for conferences or something that you want that's very, very specific to you. And you want your audience will know this specific hashtag and use it. It's also great for brand building. So again, here we have USBC embedded in the name of the poll. And it's great for conversation consistency, right? Which means that if people are using this hashtag, chances are they're having the same conversation you're having. Yes, hashtags get hijacked, but it's much easier to weed out people who have hijacked your hashtag than when you use a really general hashtag like poll. A lot of people might be using poll, and it's not as easy to weed it out because it's not as specific. And it's not necessarily that they're trying to hijack your poll, it's they have a poll of their own, right? So, and here's my sort of medium, which would be public health poll, which public health, it's a wide range of things. So it's not gonna be exactly the same conversation unless you are having a conversation about public health in general. So it's a wider reach and it's easier to get noticed because it might be easier for someone. If someone's looking for a poll and they don't know anything about USBC, they're much more likely to search poll or even public health poll than they are to search USBC weekly poll, right? So having generic hashtags is great for getting noticed. And we talked about the inconsistency of the conversation. And I do want to make a note that putting the pound symbol before search terms actually narrows the search. So before we go to questions, I want to show you what I mean. Let's pretend like we are done, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to unpin this tweet. And so it can no longer be found. So if I unpin the tweet, and if someone is searching for USBC, so if later you're thinking, I want to find USBC polls, and you search USBC with no hashtag, a lot is going to come up. Let's do polls so that you can see the difference. So if we do USBC polls with a space, every time the word polls comes up, whether it's used as a hashtag or not, so here it has no hashtag before it, here it does have a hashtag before it, all of those instances are going to come up. So when you don't use hashtags, both when it has a pound sign before it and when it doesn't, both come up. Since I used the space, it actually searched USBC and polls separately. USBC is actually the United States Bowling Committee, I believe. So got a lot of their tweets. So if we search without the space, then it pulls up our one poll. Even though we searched it without the hashtag, it still pulls up this option with the hashtag. Now, if I hadn't used the hashtag on that, if I hadn't used this hashtag or this pound symbol, if I searched with the pound symbol, it wouldn't show up. So let me try to find a good example of that for you guys. Let's do breastfeeding with a hashtag. So this is the first post to come up because it has the hashtag in it. So if we post, and all of these search results are going to be breastfeeding with the hashtag in front. So if we search without the hashtag in front, anytime the word breastfeeding comes up, it shows up. So whether it has a hashtag or not. So we get a lot more results. We would have missed all of these conversations because of how few characters Twitter allows. When you have certain terms that aren't really specific, like that aren't specific to an event or a campaign, like breastfeeding, which is pretty general term, oftentimes people don't use the hashtag. So especially as you're curating your lists, you want to be sure that you're just searching terms like breastfeeding or maternal mortality, public health without the hashtag so that you can get both instances and you won't miss anything. So here's a great use of a GIF. Yeah, so, and with that being said, questions?
Just to clarify, yeah, one question, just to clarify, so are hashtags better for conversation specific and no hashtag for just for like general content?
Yes. Ooh. Yes, absolutely. I would move away from using, okay, yes. The answer is yes, but the other thing to consider is that your audience, consider that your audience may not know how restricting actually using hashtag as a search term is. So sometimes I actually like to do both if I can. I like to really mix it up because I'm not sure if word has really spread that well amongst so we're a group of people who are trying to use social media. We're like the managers for organizations. And in terms of people's everyday use, I'm not sure that enough people realize that really when you're searching something like breastfeeding, you shouldn't use the hashtag. So if you have space to do both, which means you would be writing the word breastfeeding twice. And this is a great time this is when having a list of hashtags like this. So if I just take these hashtags and I have a tweet and I'm like, I don't really have space, but I really want to make sure that this works the way that I want it to in terms of search. I can reply to my tweet with this list of hashtags and just have it be that. And when I reply, if someone searches and they find this list of tweets, remember that it's a reply to a chain of tweets, right? So they can actually see, yay, this is great. I love this. So they can actually see all of these things now. So if they search and they find this, they're going to be able to see all of these tweets. So that's another time that replies come in really handy because 140 characters isn't a lot, but you can really stretch it using the reply function. So if you need to use all 140 characters, you can prioritize your tweets and maybe put your top 2 and then reply. And this is another great place. So I could have also tagged certain organizations here too. So replying to your tweets and saying, oh, hey, Breastfeeding USA, thanks for seeing this, or thanks for participating, check out, this resources, or we loved your XYZ resource. That's another great way to really stretch your replies. So if you share an event and you want organizations to pay attention, reply to the event and tag a bunch of organizations so that they get it in their notifications. Does that?
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks so much.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about some basic analytics, which is using the data that Twitter makes available so that you can be effective and make data-driven changes. So a lot of times on social media, you're making split-second decisions, and getting used to and comfortable with data helps you get to know your audience, and it also helps you back up some of your instincts and help build an instinct for your social media so that you can say, you know, actually most times 9 o'clock tends to be peak across the nation for posts. So as you begin to look at your analytics and talk to other people about their analytics, you can really start feeling comfortable and informed. So analytics is my favorite part of social media. So we're gonna look at some basic analytics that Twitter has, and they put it right in front of your face if you're paying attention. And right here, under your homepage, you have, under your edit profile that I actually we talked about earlier, there's this tweet activity. And that shows you over the last 24 hours how many impressions you got. And it has this handy timeline. And if you scroll over, you can look through and say, okay, you know, from 4 to 6 p.m., we peaked impressions. So as you're letting your data build up, you can kind of see how your account is moving over the last 24 hours, and you'll begin to see trends. So this is a pretty popular time. So this is a pretty popular time. It is completely 24 hours. Anything happens over the course of 24 hours, right? So something might happen and everyone flocks to Twitter because, you know, this huge news just got released, so everyone's on Twitter, and you might earn a whole ton of impressions just by virtue of the fact that people are scrolling a lot. But it's helpful to help you when you're scheduling. So you can say, all right, well, if there's something really important I want to share with my audience, 4 to 6 p.m. is a good bet for getting the impressions that we want, and that can help you make informed decisions and just feel more comfortable. And you know, I think social media moves so fast that the more reasons you have to feel comfortable, the more comfortable or the more confident you are in doing it. So the more informed you feel, you can really build your confidence. And, you know, especially as you build these systems and you have control over your platform rather than feeling like the platform has control over you. And then we have this, if you go to a specific tweet, you can hit this button. So this is the button that we use to pin it to the top. And down here, next to your reply, retweets, and likes, there's this bar graph. And it opens up this little mini analytics where you can see your impressions, your engagement, likes, retweets, profile clicks, or replies, lots of information. And that's why we are going to quickly talk about some analytic terms. So your engagement is a total number of times user actually interacted with your tweet. So clicks anywhere, retweets, replies, follows, likes. Some of these things, you know, you can see how many people retweeted, you can see how many people replied, you can see how many people liked. You can't see how many people, you know, touched or clicked on a hashtag or username. So you can actually separate, you can add up all of the retweets, replies, likes, and subtract it from your total engagement, and you know that that many people did some of these other things that you don't get information on, like click the hashtag. And this is really good because impressions, which is a number that people use a lot, really just means that it showed up on someone's homepage and they scrolled past it, right? So they saw it, maybe. Engagement means that they actually did something with it. They actually interacted with it. So even if they didn't like it, they may have clicked on it. Even if they didn't retweet it, they may have followed someone. They may have clicked on a profile picture and followed. Or they may have actually clicked the link and read the article, even though they didn't like it. So your engagement rate is a number of engagements divided by impressions. So this is I like this number, but it's hard to say what's a good engagement rate. You know, sometimes your impressions, if you are doing a Twitter chat, might be in the millions. You know, sometimes we see impressions that are really, really high. So if you have impressions in the hundreds of thousands and your engagement rate is 0.5, is that bad? Is that good? It's really hard to say. And impressions can vary so much that, you know, for the sake of sanity, I recommend just sticking with just your straight engagement numbers and really diving into how many likes, followers, tweet expansions you have, because that's going to be more meaningful than an engagement rate. So user profile clicks, this is clicks on your name, your handle, which is when they use the @, and you know, if you hover over someone's handle, you can follow them from there. And so, or your profile picture, the profile photo of the tweet author. So you can, it tells you how many times someone has clicked on any of these things, tells you how many times a user has followed directly from a tweet. I like this one a lot. So this means that your tweet was really great. I mean, it really had people engaged in it and followed you based on it. So that's always a good sign if a tweet is piquing that much interest. Details expand means that it's kind of like when we did the quiz and I did the first post, and if you could see that someone had replied. So if someone clicks on the tweet, I feel like I want to show this to you guys. So I can see this tweet pretty well from here, but I can also click it and really see. So I can see the tweet better, and I can also see all the comments. So that's a details expand, where someone says, all right, this looks cool, but I really want to check it out more. So here's the button that we're looking at here. So that was just me going through. So you can click here and you can see it. You don't even have to do that. It's also here. But that's just a great, that's also a great sign for engagement. And then, like I said before, we have impressions. So it's a lot of analytics. What do you do with the data? Oh, you know, actually, let me go back into Twitter and show you our Twitter activity. So here it is. So when you go into Twitter, this is your dashboard, and you want to head into your specific page. So under where it says edit profile, under this bar, it says your tweet activity. So over the last 24 hours, we have had over 5,000 engagements, and we can look at our peaks. So 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. was the second peak, and we have this huge peak, 2 to 4 again. So kind of lets you know when are the most eyes, when are eyes going to be on the screen. So this is just a really great, and it's right here built in for you. So this is kind of Twitter's way of saying, hey, you know, we want you to pay attention to this kind of regularly, right away. And so I really recommend that you just look over at this every once in a while and see what's going on with it, see when your low points are. So we know from 2 to 6 a.m. tend to be pretty low. Yeah. So, and then, so that's great for helping you decide when to post. So what you want to do at this stage, the main things you want to do with your data is figure out when are my times to post? When are some good times? If we have an event and we want to make sure that as many people see it as possible, when should I post that? If we are having an advocacy campaign and I want to make sure that most people see it, when should I post that? And that's what those basic, that sidebar allows you to do. Now this sort of thing, this bar graph here that helps you see your tweet activity, that's really about getting to know your audience. So does your audience really like polls? Do they really like GIFs? Do they really like HuffPost articles that are more geared from the mom's voice? Do they really like more clinical things? And that doesn't mean that you're gonna only do one of those things. It just means that you can be aware of what's gonna grab people's attention and what's going to stick. So if people tend to really like HuffPost articles, then maybe if you are posting something about an action alert, it might be good to post some news articles and then reply. So you can say, okay, liked this article about maternity issues, take action at our action alert, or take action with this action, or with this action button, if those are getting significantly more attention than your actions, right? So it's a way to sort of, you can figure out, what do I need to attach to what to get it noticed? And that's something that we at USBC do periodically, especially with, we find that we need to do that more with Facebook than we do with Twitter. Because the interesting thing about data is you can also, just because no one has liked or retweeted something doesn't mean that they haven't clicked the links. So we can see, say we have one hashtag click, one media engagement. So it tells you a little more. And so total engagement's actually 6, right? Where if you're looking at this, it just looks like, well, one person retweeted it, but that's not the full story. So you can really get to know your audience on a little bit of a better level and really see how posts are really doing. Yeah, so those are my recommendations for where to start on data and what to do with it. And lastly, I want to say that we are doing one-on-ones, and you can sign up for one-on-one training or troubleshooting. Here's the link. During these one-on-one trainings, I do whatever it is that you need me to do. You sign up, I give you, you share your screen. I can also share my screen if need be, but you share your screen to really help you build the muscle memory for what you're doing. And we troubleshoot or train on exactly what you need training on or want more information on based on your coalition specific needs. So if more than one person is managing it, then we talk about that. If you need Facebook analytics, we talk about that. If you want to set up your Instagram, we talk about that. I mean, anything and everything, truly throw it at me. I can handle it. I love it. And I really want to help each coalition feel comfortable and set up a system that is sustainable and comfortable for long-term social media engagement. So that being said, that's all I have. So are there any more questions?
Thank you so much, Lynette. So we do have a few questions. Wow, such a wealth of information. First question is, we have a lot of coalitions who are very active on Facebook. And is there a way to link the two accounts together where they can tweet on one and it be linked to the Facebook and vice versa? Is there a way to sync those things?
You can share, so you can, if you click, well, actually that's probably not the, you can embed, you can copy the link. So copy, you can embed a link in an email, but you can copy this link to a tweet that you've tweeted. So you can copy just the same way that I have this running list of master social media posts. I could copy this link and it would actually open up directly to this tweet. The issue with cross-posting, the best way to cross-post on Instagram between Facebook and Twitter is to use this sort of cut and paste model. The main thing that I would say, and mainly because you need to incentivize people to follow you across multiple platforms. So if your tweets are the same, are coming at the exact same time with the exact same message as Facebook posts, that is not, that's something that should not be done consistently, because then why should people follow both if it's going to be the same thing, right? And Twitter formatting is also tends to be different from, Twitter format only has 140 characters. So if you're sharing an article, then that works. But you know, this tweet here that has the handle for A1, that's not going to transition well to Facebook. So I would be careful about posting things like that on Facebook. So with that, warning and those 2 other options to help you do it selectively when you want to. I will say the other way to do it is using a third-party scheduler. That's how we do it at USBC. So I do post on both. I usually mainly post on Instagram and Twitter, or at Instagram and Facebook at the same time, because their formatting is the same. But I can click, so here's our page for USBC and here's our Twitter account. And I can click both of these and I can paste the message. And I'm going to schedule this so that I can delete it. And so I'm gonna schedule it for the 30th. I'm gonna schedule, and as you can see, you see this 2 means that it's scheduled for more than 1 profile. So it will post simultaneously to Twitter and to our USBC page that's linked here. And as you can see, there's actually also an option for Instagram. So that if you are gonna do both, I recommend, you know, making sure that you don't do it constantly, because there's much more frequency on Twitter than there is on Facebook, so that will help that. But also you want to make sure that you incentivize people to follow both. So maybe just keeping that at a minimum and making sure that the formatting works for both. But absolutely use that's when a third-party scheduler really comes in handy, and just clicking both profiles allows you to do that.
Great. And the other question that was asked was in regard to, I believe, the OneNote that you're using for your list. How do you keep track of which ones you've posted? Do you remove them manually, or how do you keep track of those things in your process?
I remove things if I see that I post that something has like a date. So there's no point in time where I go through and clean up this list and that's all I do, because I personally find that to be a little overwhelming. So even if I change the system, I just change the system. So when I started doing Evergreen, I just started doing it. I didn't go in and try to take out all the Evergreen content because it's just too much stuff. So if something's time sensitive and I notice that, you know, that webinar has passed, I'll either change it if I know that there's an archive, or I'll delete it. But in terms of just saying, oh, well, I posted this article about you know, this NPR article here. The thing about schedulers is that it only lets you post the same thing once every 24 hours. So if for some reason I post it and I don't realize I posted it and I schedule it again an hour later, it will not post that on Twitter again, because it's the exact same message. But that's also where my daily look at my garden comes in. So list view, I really like for that, because I can go through and I can actually read each of these tweets. So if I had multiple tweets for one day, I could read through. And if I see that I've posted it twice, and actually have a rule of thumb that anything I post to social media, I post twice, because things move really, really fast, especially with Twitter. Twitter probably, you know, 4 times, I would say, is the least you should post any single thing. So anything that you post, you should be posting at least 4 times. Unless, you know, it's time sensitive and you don't have enough space between the time you begin posting it and the time it happens for you to post 4 times. Because again, you can only do it 24 hours. But because a tweet only lasts 20 minutes, you know, someone might be on Twitter at 4 o'clock on Monday, and they're not going to be on Twitter on 4 o'clock on Tuesday. So even posting the same thing at the same time every day for 4 days does not mean the same people are going to see it. Doesn't mean it's going to have the same engagement. So sometimes I might post it at 4 o'clock on Monday, 5 o'clock on Tuesday, 6 o'clock on Thursday, 1 o'clock on Saturday. So you get some space and some time variation, but you really want to make sure that enough people see it. So you should be posting it more than once. And then if it's a matter of being afraid that it's going to come up too many times, which does become a problem, especially with Facebook, because you have fewer Facebook posts. Twitter, you can be sure that enough space will pass. But because you only have, you know, one to 3 Facebook posts, it can look like you've posted the same thing or the same 3 things over and over. And you really just want to watch that in your publisher, or periodically actually going into Facebook and looking and saying, well, you know what, I might have worn out that article. I really liked it, but I've worn it out. So let me take it out of rotation completely and not post it for, you know, maybe like a month or 3 months. And that's when it's handy to keep it here. So that's why this is also called a master list. I don't delete anything that's not time sensitive from here ever. So I use the scheduler to help me keep track of what I've posted and how many times I've posted it, which it is a difficulty, but it's much easier to just keep track of it here than lose information completely from here.
Awesome, thanks so much. Another question is, what do you think about Twitter feed scrolling on website homepages?
Twitter's feed, oh, you mean like what USBC does?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that that is great. Anytime that you can embed, so here's ours. Anytime that you can embed your tweets into another page, I think that's really helpful. Embedding social media into other things is incredibly helpful. Having the scrolling feed is a great place to start. I also recommend if you have an email and you have an advocacy ask, so like say you want people to retweet this message with this image, rather than to share this. So if we wanted people to share this, which we do, we could copy the link to the tweet. So I just cut and paste that, and embedding that into your email or into other platforms or your website is a really great way to help people immediately take the action. So, you know, forget all the, does the person, so as you see, it literally popped up that exact tweet large because I copied this specific link. So the person that's retweeting it, not only do they not have to worry about cutting and pasting and keeping track of this image, but when they get here and they retweet, it boosts your numbers, right? So if you sent this out in an email rather than just sending the text and the image, whenever anyone clicks on it and retweets, it all is going to show, it's going to show your page, it's going to show your message exactly the way you want it, and it's going to show up on your analytics. So embedding specific tweets is even like one step further than embedding your entire feed. So I highly recommend both of those.
Excellent. Another question is, I see lots of tweets that have links, and I usually don't take the time to follow those links. Links seem kind of anti-Twitter. Is that the case? And how should links be used on Twitter?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
Sure. It's basically asking, how should links be used on Twitter? What do you recommend?
Oh, how should links be used? I think you should use, whenever you, okay, so the main things I'll say are links that let people clearly know where they're going are the best way to use links, because I think I heard some like, well, you know, I don't normally click on the links. And that,
right.
that sort of goes to, people do not, if someone's in Facebook or if someone's in Twitter, they want to be in Twitter, right? And if you click this link, it's going to open a whole new thing. It's going to take you somewhere else. And people really, really, really don't like that. So here, this link, it's going to be really hard to remember this link. So the best way to use links on Twitter is going to be these vanity links that USBC is really fond of. So here we use this. So here it is in our profile, where I would embed this usbc.org/health reform. So if you don't click on it right then and there, you might be able to remember USBC/health reform or USBC/e-news, because it's words, you know, it's not, you know, BJI dot I-J, you know, that's not natural. You're not going to be able to remember that. So if you are embedding links that allow, so here's another great link, links that like, links that this link turned into this article. So this actually is a link to this article. So it sort of embeds it like a card. So anytime you see those are really helpful. And we see a few of those here. But I would recommend, here's an example of USBC using a vanity link. So I would always recommend using a link that looks natural because people will remember it. It is much easier for people to remember. So they can, actually people also feel more comfortable clicking on something when they can be 100% sure it's going to take them to where they think it's going to take them. So they know for sure that this is a USBC site versus a link like this, where you're maybe that's not what you think it's going to be. So between the two of those, so just to clarify, because I think I got a little confusing, using a vanity link, or news sites tend to create these little cards because they have these really great custom links. So this is a CNN Money. And if you look at the link, you can actually see, even though it gets a little crazy in the end, it says CNN MON, which is CNN Money. And then it creates this little card, which is great. So those are two ways to incentivize people to actually click on your links. But I do agree, that is a hurdle. For anything, people do not want to be transferred to a different page. But it shouldn't stop you from adding the link. Just make sure that you use vanity links so that people can read it, and cards are helpful. So yeah.
Okay. Great. So we have about 1 minute left, and there's just one last question. Lynette, how much time do you usually spend on USBC social media every day, and how do you decide what to post? You are awesome.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I do not. So, okay, I don't keep track of how long I spend on social media because it is just, I like social media, and because there's just so much going on social media that it's really hard for me to I'm easily distracted. So I might say, oh, geez, I really like this, CEO article. Let me go on and read it. And so does that count as my social media time? I would say that in terms of curating and scheduling and actually posting, I spend about an hour and a half every day making sure, just doing various things in terms of looking at what I've posted, looking at what I have scheduled to post, reading through the post for the day to make sure that it makes sense, maybe cutting and pasting. So I can't, if today is Wednesday, so Weekly Wednesday Wire, I'm gonna write that and it's gonna come out. And then Tuesday, I'm gonna cut and paste the entire Weekly Wednesday Wire into my new final folder and find all the links. So I count all of those things as being on, so everything that I need to do to help me post, I count. And that's about an hour and a half every day. Some days much longer, not normally any shorter than that. And what was the other question?
I think that was it. Just how do you manage that time, and how do you decide what to post? Right.
So we have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and a Twitter. So that's another reason it takes me a long time. But how I decide what to post, I go to my social media, and the first thing I do is I get on, we use Sprout Social, which is a little more expensive, but it has some capabilities that I really like. And I read through our list view. And I read through our list view and figure out, what do I have scheduled? Is the spacing okay? Do I have enough scheduled? And that's the first thing that I do, because some days I might find that I don't have, today I'm doing this webinar and I have Weekly Wednesday Wire. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to be on if I have time to schedule more things. So I just wanna make sure that we're actually okay. And then based on that, I see if there are any new things. So here are the articles that I some newer articles. So I might say, look and see, are the articles I'm posting really old? Is it time to schedule up some new ones? And then I just go here and find articles and schedule. And I also tend to look to see, is it mainly articles? When was the last time I shared a resource? When was the last time I shared something that was an action alert from a partner? And that's when my old newsletters come in really handy. So I have them here, but I also, this is the new thing that I'm trying of having it final and having it look nice. Before I was using this. And as you can see, it has all the drafts and it got really confusing. And I would just go in and find old posts from our weekly Wednesday Wire and post using the headline of the post. So if I need a resource, I might say, okay, well, there's a new Zika care website, and I would cut and paste this and cut and paste the link, and then maybe make Zika a hashtag, and then schedule that. So I really look for, if I have enough, the age of it, and diversity in the types of things that I'm posting. And that's how I make my decision. But it's really from the gut, right? And that's why, you know, using your analytics, curating all your sources really helps so that you can, you know, get into a zone and make those calls, because that's really what you have to do, is just make calls about what your audience is going to enjoy, what's going to be the most meaningful, and what you need to share. And you know, making sure that you carve out time so that you're posting throughout the day, but you know that at your peaks, you're posting the things that are important for your organization, like your events or your advocacy asks or your fundraisers. Yeah, so that's a little bit, that's how I tend to do it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lynette. We have reached the end of our time, and thank you again for such a terrific breakdown and tutorial of the Twitter platform. We know that social media can be a bit complex, and we do encourage all of our coalition leaders to sign up for the one-on-one trainings with Lynette. She'll work with you one-on-one wherever you're at, whether it's beginner or advanced, and work with you to strengthen those social media muscles. Thank you all for tuning in and staying with us, and for everything you do to improve the lives of women, children, and families. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar session. Have a great day.